As humans, it can be very difficult to control ourselves, because there are so many negative emotions that come from outside that affect our hearts. And actually, those feelings are poisons that if they remain lodged in our hearts will find it very difficult to feel calm and happy. Therefore, we must understand what types of poisons can poison our hearts and souls, so that we understand what we must do to become calmer. And what are the toxins that we must get rid of that we may have at this time, which makes our hearts not calm until now. So here I've compiled 8 toxins that you need to get rid of to be calmer and happier. 1. Excessive fear and worry. Humans are usually caught up in the future. We are always worried and afraid, whether our future will be good or bad. We are always stuck on thinking about something that will happen to us in the future, which will make us naturally feel worried, even to the point of worrying too much, which will consume our joy and calmness. Too much focus and worry on the future will make us restless in the present. We will push ourselves too hard to work, which would actually be much more useful if we are more calm and enjoy some moments now, because it also means better mental health, and a longer life in the future. Therefore, throw away those ugly thoughts about the future that make you fear and worry excessively. Don't get caught up in negative feelings, and bad speculations, regarding the future that you will face in the future. Just trust your future to God yourself, because what God gives or gives you, is today that you must use to fight. 2. Jealousy and envy. Jealousy and envy usually arise when we compare ourselves to others, especially when we are struggling at the same stage as the other person. This jealousy and envy can make us do things that we don't want to do impulsively. We may commit crimes, just to make ourselves higher than the person we are jealous of. Jealousy or envy will make us always compare ourselves. We don't see our surroundings, and we don't see ourselves, but all our focus and views are always focused on the person we are jealous of, and this is not a healthy thing, because you will force your mind to feel pain, when the person you are jealous of gets a higher income or success than you. The point is you are not calm, must be restless every day, just because of the success of others. Instead of being a more successful person than that person, you become a person who is always stressed and frustrated. So, eliminate this poison in your heart, because then you will definitely be a much happier person than before. When you don't compare yourself to others, you can focus on achieving whatever you want, and no matter how small your achievements are, you will always feel happy and enough, because you will enjoy it with pleasure, and no longer compare yourself to others. And this is what will make you much happier than before. 3. Grudge. This grudge is a very bad thing that always consumes our hearts and souls. We can't even focus on doing our daily activities. In other words, we can also be distracted from the important things of the goals that we make in our lives, just because we hate and hold a grudge against someone. And this is actually a very dangerous poison that humans usually have. This hatred and resentment comes from the wrongs that other people have done to us, which makes us feel that we are being demeaned and we have to defend ourselves, because the wrongs done by that person are too far against the limits of our patience. It is very difficult to let go of resentment and grudges, but the way you can do it is to focus on yourself. Don't focus on other people's mistakes or what other people have done to you, but think about what is really important for you to achieve in your own life, so your feelings will be calmer and you can get rid of these feelings of hatred and resentment. You can also try to get closer to God. By focusing more on feelings of gratitude, we will avoid feelings of resentment and hatred. Because it is the feeling of gratitude that makes us happier, and can see others better. 4. Negative and pessimistic thoughts. These usually arise when we feel low, or when we underestimate ourselves, because we focus too much on the shortcomings we have. And focusing on those shortcomings will make us negative and pessimistic about the life we live, when in fact, every human being is given their own strengths and weaknesses. Therefore, don't focus too much on the shortcomings you have, don't beat yourself up too often when you make mistakes. But focus on thinking about the advantages, the greatness of the greatness you have, and the achievements you achieved before. You have to know one thing: your current life is a dream of others, and know you have advantages that God gave you, which are not owned by others, which others themselves would be willing to pay more and expensive, just to be in your current position. Just imagine a person who has no hands, no legs, or a person who has to lie down all their life, because they are unlucky. And you can still walk, you can still do things. That's why I remember the words of a friend, who told me that if he's not feeling well, if he's pessimistic about his life, he usually visits the hospital, and there he will find people who are less fortunate, who have problems in health, and there are so many people out there who are struggling, just for a little bit of health. Even if it's just for an hour. 5. Guilt and regret. Guilt and regret, focusing on our past mistakes, can make you stressed and frustrated, even depressed just thinking about the past. But the truth is that the dark past is not necessarily the worst part of our lives. It can be a process that can make us as strong as we are now, because, without the problems, and the big mistakes, that we made in the past, we would not be the strong person we are now, who can hit all kinds of problems with more courage. It's hard to be a person who closes the page of life that has passed in our lives, and opening a new page of life is also very difficult, but if you are able to make peace with yourself, with your own past, and with the pages of life that have passed, you will become a much calmer and happier person, because you will focus on finding happiness in the future, and focus on fighting for today to the fullest. 6. Addiction and self-destructive behavior. Many of us are always looking for instant dopamine in our brains, so that we feel happier than before, or at least to relieve the problems and pressures that we are facing. Therefore, these addictions and self-destructive behaviors must be removed from us. And know that stopping addiction from ourselves is a very difficult thing for us to do, because there we have to fight ourselves, but if you really want to be serious about fighting your addiction, you can use these methods. The first is to acknowledge the problem, admit that you are addicted, whatever type it is, then identify triggers. Usually the biggest trigger of this addiction is when a person is alone, and there are also times when a person is with his friend, who also has the same addiction, so avoid these moments or situations. Then the third is, by seeking support, do not forget to seek support from friends, or family, because with support, we will feel lighter, in dealing with the addiction problem that we have. 7. Uncontrollable stress and pressure. Uncontrollable stress and pressure usually arise from the process of too often lamenting the mistakes of the past, and the shortcomings that we currently have, and this is not a good thing for us to have, because when we are stressed, we will find it difficult to focus on doing anything important. We cannot be calm in life, and we instead look for impulsive outlets, which will make us lead to negative things. Uncontrollable pressure can also make us depressed, which ultimately makes us give up on life, which is very valuable. We can make work to benefit others, and we can provide assistance to others, from the abilities we have. There are several ways that you can apply to eliminate the poison of stress, and this uncontrollable pressure. The first is to relax. The way to do this relaxation is to close your eyes, while sitting cross-legged, and sit upright, then focus your mind on the breath you breathe at that moment. That way, your mind will be free from negative thoughts, and the pressures that are being experienced. In other words, relaxation is a process where we shift our attention to focus on simpler things. Because stress and pressure can usually only be anticipated or dealt with by shifting our attention to focus on simpler things, because stress and pressure can usually only be anticipated or dealt with by shifting attention to good and simple things. If you really don't want relaxation or meditation, you can try to do your hobby, because hobbies will also make you feel positive. A sense of focus on negative thoughts that will be able to be diverted to the hobby that you are struggling or passionate about. Then the last poison, or the 8th one, is worrying about other people's opinions. This is a pretty big problem, where we're always more focused on the thoughts that other people have of us. Or we get too caught up in how other people think about what we're doing, when other people also have their own problems, which makes them more focused on themselves. However, we are like that. Sometimes we feel that other people are always snooping around our lives, and thinking about us. The problem that will arise, when you worry about other people's opinions, is that you will limit your own freedom. You will actually find it difficult to be a happy person, because every action you take will always be thought of, based on how others see you, which will make you shy, afraid to take risks, so you will be trapped in your own thoughts, which of course will make it difficult for you to become a calmer and happier person. Maybe that's it for this video. Hopefully this video is useful for all of you. Thank you very much, and see you soon.